this presentation begins with some Monty Python, and now for something completely different, right? So I've been really fascinated by talk of eScenic and Q and everything over the last couple of days, and it's really eye-opening for me, because eScenic is a platform that a lot of the people that I work with are very heavily involved in, and I've written a couple of articles through it in the past, but it's not something I work with on a daily basis, so it's been extremely interesting. I'm sure most of you have heard of independent news and media before, because I know our team has been here for the last, I don't know how many years. Founded in 1904, we're the largest print publisher on the island of Ireland. We have a mixture of newspapers. The Irish Independent is the newspaper of record in the Republic since the turn of the last century. Belfast Telegraph is the largest newspaper in Northern Ireland. And then we have some red tops and daily newspapers, lots of regional papers, and the Sunday Independent is the largest regional newspaper in Ireland. Of course, then we have lots of websites. Independent.ie is on about 12 million unique users. Belfast Telegraph at about 2 million. And they're running on top of eScenic, 5.7 at the moment. And I'm not going to talk about all the great work that our development team have done over the last couple of years, moving to Amazon Web Services, the upgrade from 5.4 to 5.7, the great work on redesigning the front presentation layer of our system. And I'll leave it to talk to them over lunch here or when you can catch them. What I want to talk to you about is our data infrastructure and what we've done over the last 3 years. I came into the business in March of 2014, and I had some observations about how we were using data within our business and working with data. The first thing that was really obvious was we were very last minute. At the end of a month, somebody would sit down and write a report, and that report looked like that. It was pretty basic. There'll be a lot of censorship here, just so people are aware. There was 21 numbers running in any one of our sites. So this was the independent.ie report, and there was a similar report for Belfast Telegraph. And those 21 numbers were the usual page views and unique users broken down by section. We used that number to report to the board. The sales team used it to build sales pitches for customers. And we've heard a lot about WYSIWYG and WYSIWYM and lots of things over the last couple of days. We have one that's much harder to pronounce. I think AEG is the bit closest we've come to at this point. Anything else, go get it yourself. So that caused total nightmares and pain within the business. We were just too management focused. We were thinking about the editor-in-chief, we were thinking about the managing director, we were thinking about the board, and we weren't thinking about the journalist, the salesperson, the marketeer who needed data to do their job. Those people had to go get it themselves in lots of different distributed channels. Every time we brought on a new third party for commenting, for live blogs, for social media, you had to go to a new dashboard. You had to go to yet another place where you could get data, where the terminology was a little bit different than you were used to. And you had to try and understand what you were trying to get, and then you had to take that data from disparate systems to bring it together to tell a story. And you're asking that of arts majors rather than scientists. So our data architecture was rage-inducing, I think is probably the best comparison. People were very confused. Anecdotally, in the first year at I&M, I sat in meetings where 4 people around a table would be discussing search traffic or discussing a new feature for the platform. And they'd be arguing over the numbers. Somebody came with a number, I'd say 2. Someone else would say, no, 4, no, 6. But I pulled it last night, I pulled it this morning. Did you remember to filter out that? I did filter that out. But did you remember to pull this out? Just constant rage-inducing data conversations. So the first thing we did was we took a baby step. As a good data scientist, I built an Excel sheet. We pulled numbers by hand from a whole bunch of different systems. You can see it on the bottom there. We're covering all of our website analytics at the time from Google. We were pulling data from our push notification provider, how many pushes we were sending, app traffic. We were pulling some stuff from Newsweaver for sending emails and how the newsletters were performing. And we put this together every month. So we didn't try to fix the timeliness issue, but just try and fix the data's everywhere issue. And this meant that we were running our business on about 50k numbers. And there was a bit of drill down available. You could say, I want to look at just the Irish market, and I just want to look at the US market. But it was a first step, it was a baby step. And the first thing that people said to us is, can we have that weekly? And I've got more, I want more things. I've got another great data set, can you bring that in? And then of course we started providing it weekly. So a data scientist would spend about an hour pulling this together on a Friday and be ready for the next Monday and then be able to use it. And then of course I said, can we have it daily? So I thought, okay, we've got a problem here. We can't invest an hour a day in building a report. And not only that, but everything we've kind of looked at here is, it's trends, right? It's still at that management level. It's not talking about, so it's not solving individual problems. And if you want to deliver an Excel spreadsheet that shows every story on the website last month, you'll be sending around gigabyte Excel sheets that will never load. So we needed a better plan for this. But the good thing was we engaged the business. We talked to the individual stakeholders and understood what they were trying to achieve. So we made those connections. In parallel, we were looking at our analytics platform. At the time, URL was king. It was what we were sending to Google Analytics when we were making requests. The first part would tell us what publication we were talking about. The www would tell us that we were talking about the web delivery channel. That would tell us the desking, so we could do some filtering and we could manually say, well, I care about sport, because of course you've got hundreds of first level sections for test sites and different bits and pieces, so you need to know what you were talking about. The article type is in there somewhere, but it's kind of encoded and it can cause problems when it changes. And the article ID gives us a link to eScenic. It gives us a link to what's going on, and it also tells us the page type, because if it's got an article ID, it's an article. If it's not got an article ID, it's a section page. And we wanted to move to a better situation, especially when we look at it from now, when we've got eScenic powering our website on desktop and tablet, a mobile adaptive website on mobile. We haven't gone fully responsive yet, it's something that's on our roadmap. Our apps, our Facebook Instant, our Google Amp, we have all of these delivery channels to which we're chucking out data, or chucking out content. And we want to be able to understand how they're behaving and be able to unify everything back when we're done. But the biggest problem probably in the last year is that every time we pull content out of this stack and bring it into Facebook Instant or bring it into Google Amp, it confuses our editorial team because they're used to a baseline. 1 million page views, 10 million page views, whatever it might be. And now all of a sudden 20% of that traffic is carved out and now it's in a new channel, in the Google AMP channel. So how do you unify that? It's a real interesting problem. So we knew we needed to deliver crisp, precise metadata to our analytics platforms. And we did a big project working with our development partner, Bailiwick, and our own internal development team. And we really took metadata that we had within the eScenic platform and we exposed it out to our analytics platform. And that enabled us to be able to know what delivery channel we're on, enabled us to know what site publication we were talking about. What's the page type that we're on? Is it an article? Is it a section? Is it the homepage? All the site section information broken down to 6 levels deep, so we can filter like crazy. Article IDs, the title in a properly created form, the author, the tags on the article, and this is just an example. I mean, we've a much bigger schema than just this. And that enables us within those platforms now to ask much more interesting questions. You can say, okay, this guy, Simon Lovell, how's he doing? How much traffic does he generate? Articles about Arsene Wenger, how's he doing? What sort of traffic does he generate? What are the top Arsene Wenger stories that we've had? And that gives us a solid amount of data. It's not revolutionary, right? Lots of people are doing this, but it was a huge step forward for us in our data infrastructure. But it had to be about more than just traffic and audience. Traffic and audience is part of the picture. So if we've got eScenic, as I said, we're sending the metadata. We also are actually taking a full export of the eScenic database in real time. So every 30 seconds we're polling for what's going on within the platform. All new articles are brought in, and within our platform we have a full mirror of what's going on in the eScenic platform. I'll show you that in a moment. We also have lots of other services. We have our commenting system, we have push notifications, we have live blogs, We have what's going on with our Facebook posts, what's going on with our Twitter posts, our apps, the reviews that we're getting, our ranks in the app stores, the feedback people are giving us, the downloads. We have our registration platform, who's registering with us and why. Our email platform, what are our newsletters doing, how are our branded marketing campaigns working. So the next step was to build a unified data repository. We built a full integration with all of these platforms, amongst others, and we are constantly adding new data points to this. And that gave us a wide variety of data that tells us a story about our business. And we can mash that data up together to create interesting stories for our journalists so they can understand what they're doing. Interesting information for our marketing team to understand how their marketing campaigns are going. Information for our sales team who want to go out to the market and show a potential customer that we are the masters of our audience. We understand our audience better than anybody in the world. And we can help you to market, but you use us to advertise your products. Of course, the editorial team. In 2014, they were still working in a 15-minute cycle, developing an article, getting it out there, moving on to the next one. But they had no feedback. They had no information about how this was performing until the end of the month. With what we've done here, we very quickly were able to give them information about the end of the day, and right now we have real-time analytics. They can see what's happening on the platform when they put a story live and react to it. Is my SEO working? Should I change the headline? Is my Facebook post working? Should I modify it? Should I add a video? Should I add an image? It enables them to make decisions very quickly about the content and what they're doing. It's also been a huge help for our product development team in terms of being able to look at how people are using the elements of our page, which widgets are driving traffic. How are we able to engage our audience, and what should we do to change our platform to engage them better? And at the center, we have the data science team, of course, because we're the center of the universe. And we make sure that everybody's getting clean, crisp data, and that data is fresh and able to answer their questions. So we had to build a lot of relationships. That's probably the biggest take-home message of this. As a data science team within a business, if your data science team are in a room at the end of the corridor and the door's closed, you've got a problem. The data science team has to build relationships with everybody in every department. So what did we end up with? We ended up with one source of truth. In any business, you will find multiple systems that are collecting data. You might have Chartbeat, Parsley, Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics, and they'll all give you a page view number for tomorrow or for yesterday. Wish they give you a page view number for tomorrow. I give you a page view number for yesterday. You have to make a decision. Which is the number you're going to trust? Because you don't want everybody walking around with different impressions of what that number is, and they can dramatically vary in the detail they tell you. That integration, from a traffic perspective, is updated daily. Of course, we have many integrations that upgrade maybe half a day, every hour, every minute, or in some cases every 30 seconds, depending on the speed of that data and the value of having it in real time. So you can see here, this is our traffic dashboard. It has drill downs by market, by device, by refer type. You click on any one of those sections, and the subsequent section, and the subsequent section, and the subsequent section. You can go the whole way down to a 6-level desking. You can see the trend in that breakdown over the last 12 months for all of the different channels. So you can see we're still very website and app bound. And these new channels, Facebook Instant, Google AMP, are really just starting to come up, but they will fill out that portion of traffic over time. On the left, I'm not going to show you every screen because there's 50 screens in this dashboard, but I'm going to show you some of the cool ones. On the left, you can just see some of the other things we do under traffic. So we have targets, there's a traffic light system if you're on course to meet your target, if you're going to miss your target. Because editors now are responsible for making sure they reach the numbers that they need to reach, and they need assistance in making sure they can do that. It's the first feedback we got from editorial. We have to make a target, and I don't know how we're going to get there. Month-on-month growth, understanding where are we this month in comparison to last month, or this week compared to last week. Speaking of which, all of these reports can be dropped into a daily view, a weekly view, or a monthly view, depending on what you're interested in, what you're trying to achieve. So lots of drill down, and they're referenceable. So what I love is when I walk past a meeting room and there's 5 people around a table and there's a dashboard on the monitor. So rather than people bringing scraggly bits of paper and notepads with them to a meeting where they've written some numbers down that they pulled themselves, and the trace backability of that number is really hard to understand in the context of that meeting. Now you have something that you can discuss. You can sit down and discuss the dashboard. You can filter it down to what you're talking about, and you can say, yeah, we understand what we're trying to achieve here. Just going to check my time. Yeah, good. So let's talk about some cool dashboards. I'm the one keeping you from lunch. So I thought at this point, let's do something that we can say, hey, I saw something cool this afternoon. So this is our latest published articles dashboard. This is using that export from eScenic that we get every 30 seconds. It tells us what has been published into the platform. Particular journalist, this is on the wall in our newsroom. It's also available on people's desktops, so if you're the sports editor, you can change the desking and say, I want to see the latest sports content that's come in. We can also change the original source, so we can say, okay, while I know there's lots of stuff coming in from lots of places, I want to monitor what's coming recently from PA or from Reuters, or I want to see what's coming recently from print or from online editors. And what we've done here is we've mashed this information up with other data sources. So we know immediately we scrape our own website every 30 seconds as well. So we know, is it on our desktop homepage? Is it on our mobile homepage? Is it on our app home screen? So someone can immediately say, hey, why is that article not on the homepage? We have a color coding system. There is actually a legend here that's available for the journalists, but I could have edited the screenshot so they know what all these icons mean. And they've got to the point now where it's very intuitive for them. But the social icons, the blue is our sports Facebook, the red is our style Facebook. We have a color coding system that we use for the whole site. So a red Facebook icon means that article made it onto our style Facebook page. So again, somebody can immediately say, hey, why did we post that to Facebook yet? And then in the last column, there's whether we sent a push notification about it to our app users. At this time we haven't, so I didn't get it in the screenshot. But so this is a tool that just enables, it's used a lot by our digital editor. She has this up on her screen and she's watching what the rest of the team are producing, how it's flowing in, it's just being published, what do we need to do about it, what's the workflow, how's it going. As an individual journalist, I'm probably more interested in this screen. So this is our live traffic data powered by Adobe. This enables us to see the top articles, and again, you can filter like crazy. So if you want to filter for content that's in the sports section, that's coming from a particular news source that's got different types of articles, so you might want to look only at video articles, or gallery articles, or poll articles, or just news articles. And this is a marriage of data from eScenic as well as a marriage of data from Adobe Analytics. So those are being combined together to give us lots of information. So we have lots of real time. I'm going to show you some more real time in a minute, but we also have a lot of historical too. So that eScenic data source that we're bringing in, we do a full analysis of that every night and enable the journalists to see what's happening in terms of our content production. So how are we producing content? What happened yesterday? What's happened this month so far? So how many articles have we put out so far this month? What data sources have they come from? Has our usage of a particular news service changed? Or are we getting the same articles that we expect to get from our print providers? Are they coming in at the right speed? And really being able to understand our content production has been a huge change in what we're doing. And we've actually optimized this so the types of content that we use, we're way too over-reliant on that. We need to bring some of that more in-house. The Lazarus Articles, which is something we came up with because the term evergreen is patented. So you may have known this as evergreen content. Lazarus Articles are content that come back from the dead, and they, you invest some effort in building an article, and you want to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. And if something comes back from the dead, the audience is giving you a signal that you can latch onto and say, well, what are we going to do with that signal? Do we want to write some more content about that? Obviously, there's a renewed interest in that topic. So what are we going to do about it? And on any of these dashboards, I can click into the article and actually see the article itself, all the metadata that we've pulled in from eScenic. We even load up the main image of that particular article in the dash. All of the data associated with the lifetime traffic of that article is available from all of the different data sources. This is a very old article from 2014. When it went live, there was about, 700 page views to it on the first day, and maybe 1,000 on the second. An abject failure, not a particularly great article. But now we're 4 years on, and it is now the #1 search result for World War I weapons on Google in Ireland. So it gets 2,000 page views per day, and now it's generated 350,000. So quite a good story, right? It's done pretty well for us over the last while. And finding and identifying those stories and working out how you replicate that. What is it about that story? What did we do right? What did we do well? How do we do that again? We see a lot of our travel content appears in this evergreen content. Top 10 places to go, and that's helped us. Our travel vertical now is just overflowing with evergreen content. I talked about our registration provider. So one of the things we provide is real-time information. The marketing team love this one. They have it open on their screen, especially if they're running campaigns, they're running email marketing, trying to get people to register, trying to drive people to write comments or register for our newsletter, which means you need to register with us. This enables us to see over the last 12, 24 hours what's happening. Where are the people registering? What are they using? Using our on-site registration? Are they using our social registration options? Or how is that going? And you actually see here, as I said, I can't go through all the different dashboards that we have, but the first item on that list is a historical analysis of our registration. How many registrations did we have last month? How many per day? Break it down, explore it, understand what's going on. Do the same for our commenting, for every push notification that we send, for downloads of our apps on the different app stores. Facebook was something we put a lot of effort into. We had a sort of a choice to make. Did we go Facebook or did we go Twitter? So we were data-driven about it and said, yeah, 96% of our social traffic comes from Facebook. Let's go there. That makes more sense. So this set of dashboards is pulling data from Facebook Analytics using the graph relaying. And it enables us to see how many posts we're posting. So you see here, this is all about output. So the journalists can say, well, is our output at the consistent level? That's certainly something we found is the more consistent we are with our Facebook posting, the better our Facebook traffic is. Because Facebook says, oh, we like the fact that you produce the same amount every day, and not just produce it every day, but that you produce it in a nice, evenly spaced gap. Every 30 minutes you've got new content coming out. And I really like that. So that's something that we're monitoring, and it's something that we care about. But you can drill down, you can see, drill into our likes, drill into our reach, drill into our engagement, and we can drill into every post we've ever written. So we have scraped every single Facebook post we've done since 2009, and journalists can go back by day, by week, by month, and can observe how do those posts do in terms of reach, engagement, clicks, people, clickers, and likes, shares, comments, and even with a little eye on the right-hand side, they can actually see the Facebook post from January 2010 or whatever it might be. And again, try and understand, I did something yesterday, did it work or did it not work? We also provide some overlays, so if the ratio of number of people who it reached versus the number of people engaged is particularly high, we say, hey, this was an engaging post. So we give the marketing team and the editorial team a very quick clue to say, yep, you did well here, this was engaging, or it was clickable, or it had a very viral reach, it exploded in terms of shares and reached far more people than you would have expected, and the proportion of viral reach as part of that was very high. I'm coming close, so I'm going to make sure I finish all these slides. The Explore dashboard is not for the faint of heart. It's a 4-year view broken down by day. And you can break it down with the filters at the top into somewhere in the order of 12,000 different graphs, depending on what you're trying to achieve. The reason why I show this one, where the blue line is our desktop traffic, the red line is our mobile traffic, and the purple line is our tablet traffic. This is our website. We're looking at page views. So I could drill into users or average session duration or a whole bunch of different metrics that we have available. This was, the reason why we built this was we had noticed a huge jump in our unique users on mobile in about April 2014. And we said, oh wow, mobile is nearly competing with desktop for the size of our audience, but it's lagging down with tablet in terms of the amount of traffic that it's generating. What can we do about that? I mean, we're obviously not delivering the right experience. So we went and we put a lot of effort into the new mobile product, and you can actually see the iterations in July and August of 2014 as we launched different iterations of our mobile adaptive site. And over the last while, we're now getting so much more traffic from mobile. It's a key part for us, and we've redesigned and we've learned from a data-driven perspective what it is that we've done and how to do it better. And this sort of exploration, even our editors have started to use it, the more data-savvy editors, but they're able to see when they're checking search traffic or social traffic, hey, we've had a huge drop off a cliff, something's happened, Google's launched Fred, whatever the particular thing might be, that's impacted our SEO. And we want you guys to do something about it. So we often get the call to say, hey, something happened yesterday, why? And we can then use these tools to dig into it. My favorite visualization we've ever done is time of day analysis. So I put it in every deck. This is a visualization of the average day for the last 90 days of our traffic to independent.ie, and it's color-coded based upon the vertical of the traffic. In fact, in the dashboard, you can color-code it by device type, or you can color-code it by refer, or you can color-code it by a whole bunch of different things. But one of the reasons why I wanted to show it to you color-coded by vertical is that we discovered very quickly that the different types of vertical have very different consumption behaviors and when they want to consume their data. So this is our business traffic across the week. The first thing you'll notice is that the peaks are in the morning, right? People say, okay, I wake up in the morning, I want to learn more about what's happening in terms of business news, get ready for my business day, and then I come home in the evening and I'm going to enjoy my time with my family. I'm not going to read about mergers and acquisitions, I'm going to really focus in on other stuff. But when you look at our live content, it behaves almost the other way around. There's still a lot going on in the morning, but most of the peaks we see, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, this is long form content. It's more magazine style content, aspirational, weddings, lifestyle, health and well-being. And that content behaves quite differently, with the exception of the weekends, where both observe a common read it in bed, Sunday papers style of consumption. And this had a marked effect, this work had a marked effect on how we resource our editorial team. Before we launched that great mobile site, our site was predominantly Monday to Friday, 9 to 6. And then the weekends happened and traffic goes off a cliff because everyone turns their PCs off and they went home. We offered a much better mobile experience. We have our app, which has grown ridiculously in terms of traffic. So we were seeing on the weekends absurd growth in our traffic. It actually now, Sundays, Sunday nights, Sunday mornings are our busiest day of the week. And in terms of how a day is broken down, we used to be 9 to 5, we're now 6 a.m. to midnight. The first thing people do in the morning is they check their traffic. And we're looking at website traffic here on desktop, mobile, and tablet. If you overlay app on this, it starts even earlier and is even bigger in the evening. So it really changes how we want to resource our newsroom. So I am keeping you from lunch now, so I will finish up. If you're thinking about your data in your newsroom and thinking about how you want to support all the different people in your business, I have 8 fundamental things you need to think about. Consistent data, pick one source, identify what your one source of truth is, integrate with it, make sure everybody understands that and it's clear. Probably the most important thing, affordable analytics. I'm sure anybody who is involved in procurement of technology in the newsroom will know that the phone will ring every 5 minutes with somebody saying, I have a great analytics platform that you need to have. That's super, and you need to pick the right and appropriate one. Make sure you can afford it. Work out your traffic that you're going to have to your website over the next 2 years, project into the future based upon your current growth, then double it. If you can still afford it, that's okay. And try not to buy too many of them. Ease of access, so make sure that you're not having people log into 25 dashboards to get their data, that you try and unify it together into one experience. Data variety and mashup, get as much data as you can from as many sources as you can, because the real value is when you combine that data together. And then, as I said, probably the most important thing, and I'll finish on relationships. You have to build relationships, and from the other side, as a product development team, go bug your data team. Ask them, we're about to build a new product. Can you tell us anything about our existing product and what help us? We're about to redesign the front UI. How do people use the current one? Your data team will love to hear those questions. They'll be energized and excited to help you. Otherwise, hire new ones. Thanks.
Speaking of hiring, who wants Mick to come work at Yeah. Got a question in the back? As I'm going there, you talked about, obviously, managers and editors would get jazzed about this. Does it drill down all the way to the content producers?
It does, yeah. With differing levels of success. Some people are very data savvy. Some people don't really want to know about it. But we've got editors that aren't even writing for digital. They're writing for print, who have the dashboard open because they know their article will go to print, and then someone will pick it up and do a modification to it, and then it will go onto the online platform. And they want to see how they're doing because they have no feedback in the print form. There's just no feedback for them, and this gives them oh, that was better than the one I did 2 weeks ago. Cool. That gives me just an initial feeling.
Hi, Casper from the Danish Daily Growth. Brilliant presentation, really good tools. My question is similar to that question because a lot of it is a cultural change in the way you use data. So I mean, what have you done to make people using the data to improving their products?
Get them jazzed has been the best success point. So in year one, we showed them the Excel sheets, and they started to go, that's really cool. And they started having their own ideas about what they wanted to know about how their users were doing it. Our biggest problem right now is we don't have the resource to implement everything they want. So they are coming to us with new data challenges every day. Oh, can you give us every single referral source for that article? Because I want to know, is it coming from Reddit or is it coming from Facebook? All you're telling me is it's social traffic. Can you dig it a level deeper for us? So actually the challenge is actually, because we've got them so jazzed and got them so, we're like a cocaine dealer. We've given them the cocaine and they just keep coming back for more.
Do the reporters have personal dashboards that they follow their own production, or is it from desk to desk?
They can track their stories. It's one thing we've avoided doing is there's no way to filter to an individual journalist in the dashboard. I know other journalists have tried, other publications have tried that to, journalist leaderboards, and it's a HR sensitive issue within the building. What happens when I can compare 5 people? This stuff can be used to hire and fire people, right? So you do have to be a little bit cautious from that perspective. But most journalists will have this open on their desk. More likely that it'll be a channel editor for the sports vertical, and they'll have filtered and configured everything so it's the sports view of the world. It's more likely the way it works.
Chris, hi. Thanks for the presentation, Dennis. I have a question. Now that you have this data, right, and I know your team uses this data directly to influence how they produce their stories and how well a story is doing, whether it should be on a certain section, and when to take it down, when has it reached the natural end of its life cycle. Have you started yet, or are you planning to use this data in a more automated fashion, to use this like artificial intelligence so that you can, promote or demote content on your site?
So that was the original vision when I came into the business, was personalization of content. And we've done 3 different POCs, one of which is still live on the site. So the one that's still live on the site is video recommendation. It drives about 20% of our video, and it uses, it's a very simple top popular algorithm, but it worked very, very effectively. And that's still live on the site. We also did some pieces related to targeted homepage, where you would get myindependent.ie, and the population of that page was done by an algorithm based upon what you'd read in the past. What we discovered was we were too good, which is great, but not great. What it meant was that we enabled people to find the content they wanted to find really quickly, but we broke the serendipitous discovery element. So people weren't stumbling on content anymore. They were being presented with exactly what they wanted to read. So we got the people who were being targeted would receive the recommendations, the click-through rates were really, really high, but the actual session durations went down in terms of time and in terms of clicks per user. So great user experience, terrible revenue. So we didn't go any further with it. One of the things we are doing, and Sean might talk about more about this over lunch, is we've just completed a project, or we're working on a project called Single View of the Customer. We have a lot of e-commerce style products as well as our publishing products. So we wanted to build a single view of all of our customers in our different CRM databases. And we use that with our Agility Harmony partner for email marketing. So one of the things we do want to do is to bring a lot of that great data at the personal level into that platform. So not only do we know your transaction history, your demographic information, we also know your content behavior preferences, and we can target our emails more effectively and potentially in the future target stuff in the web channel and the Facebook channel. So that is definitely an area we want to look at.
Great, thanks. Great question. Thank you very much. And we will we'll ask you to sit at a large table so that people can sit around you during lunch and continue this conversation. I would ask you to come back at 1:30 so we can stay on schedule for the 3 other sessions that we have today. I'm sure some people have travel plans, so we're doing great on time. Thank you all. One last comment. I've heard some people ask for presentations from the speakers. Just want to let you know that we will be sending a link to the participants with access